the survivor who helped break the case wide open.
He told me he would find me and kill me.
Where Are You, Jacob? 2020, Friday on ABC, and stream on Disney Plus and Hulu.
What is that?
Dr. Laura.
They look kind of cute. The stories are true.
The story has just begun.
We know them.
Disney's Moana, rated PG, now playing in theaters.
The restaurant is flooded.
But we're here together.
I like that. I like that positivity.
Cousin.
I'm trying to be a positive teammate.
Yeah, not now.
I am selling the building.
There's a hole in the ceiling. Everyone who works here has a personality disorder.
Stop sucking!
You ready?
FX is the bet. The final season. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, it's time for some secret savings with our friend GMA Lifestyle contributor, Lori Bergamato. Lori loves a good deal, and all you have to do to take advantage of these that she found is scan that QR code in the bottom left corner of your screen. So, Lori, what are we shopping for today?
So this is something that I am shopping for today. If you like to spend some time outdoors, and I know you do, it's hard because you want to wear jewelry, but you're not going to wear your fine jewelry into the ocean, right? But
Listen, I don't wear fine jewelry anywhere because I lose it everywhere I go.
Well, that's
Danielle's
one.
nodding right now, our floor manager.
That's one reason. Another reason is you don't want to ruin it, right? Or lose it in the ocean. But then if you wear costume jewelry, you risk, do you know what you risk?
What do I risk?
Turning your skin green.
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot of
that happens
times,
to me.
I know, because that's what happens. So a lot of times when it hits water or lotion, it reacts, turns your skin green, it tarnishes the jewelry, and then you're like, okay, I guess I don't have this anymore. So this is why we're all obsessed with Hey Harper. This is waterproof, lotion-proof, sweat-proof jewelry. This is not fine jewelry in the sense that it's going to be...
It's not going to break the bank.
Exactly. But it is high-quality costume jewelry. It's so pretty. I have the link
That's the one I just picked up. I love this
the matching necklace there. There's earrings. I have a ton of Hey Harper jewelry, and I love it. I always get compliments on it. And really, the greatest thing I can tell you, I mean, I've already said so many great things about it, but now savings start here at 25%. Ooh. So this is the sort of thing you want to stock up for, because of course you can wear it all year round, but in the summertime, that's when it really shines.
And if you lose jewelry like me, you don't have to feel terrible about it.
Exactly. Now, it's humid out there. We've had a lot of heat and we've had a lot of rain in July. So it's really important that you have a good umbrella. These from Rappel are amazing, Diane. They have 100,000 positive reviews. They withstand gusts of wind up to 85 miles per hour, which I hope you're not in 85 miles. Okay, but can I show you the greatest thing? Oh, no, wait, that's okay.
I knocked over the jewelry and it's fine.
It won't tarnish. But now, wait, no, wait. Leave it open. I want to show you. Now press the button again. Press the button again.
Over. Wait, ready?
Yeah, go. Oh, there you go. And that's how you can close it. It's hassle-free, coverage, easy travel. Then you push it down. You can save more than 50% from Rappel. One more time.
I can do this all day.
There you go. That's why I wanted to show you. So it's a great thing to keep in your bag.
That is awesome.
I know. Lots of good savings today.
Okay, very cool. Lori, I want to play with this all day. Lori, thank you. And to shop these products and more, we won't give you the ones I knocked on the floor, I promise. Just scan that QR code in the bottom left corner of your screen and join us same time tomorrow for even more secret savings. The news never stops, and neither do we. We'll be right back.
Stars 2020, Friday nights at 9.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Ramos in for Diane Macedo. And today on ABC News Live, first, the battle for control of the Strait of Hormuz. The war with Iran is ramping up again as President Trump reinstates the U.S. blockade. Now, oil is surging. What that means for gas prices. Anti-ICE outrage, protests growing overnight after an ICE agent shot and killed someone for the second time in less than a week. Well, we're learning about the victim, who was not the target agents were pursuing, and what the administration is saying now. Summer scorcher. Extreme heat is putting more than 125 million Americans on alert coast to coast. Firefighters are battling wildfires and record-setting temperatures as the South battles severe storms and flooding. We're tracking it all. But first, war in the Persian Gulf is ramping back up as the U.S. strikes Iran for the third straight day. Yesterday, Iran struck 2 more tankers in the strait after President Trump declared the naval blockade back in effect. Now, the battle for control of the Strait of Hormuz is intensifying. Let's bring in White House correspondent Karen Travers for more on this. Karen, great to see you. The president wants to charge 20% on all cargo moving through the strait. What's he saying about that this morning?
Yes, Stephanie, this was a big announcement yesterday from the president saying that the United States should get money for protecting ships that would be going through that critical waterway. And yesterday, the president was asked questions about how this would work, who would pay, and he said countries that the U.S. was protecting. Here's what he had to say yesterday in the Oval Office in response to those questions.
Yeah, I want to be reimbursed because we're protecting a very rich portion of the world. We're spending money. And so what we've done is we are going to be reimbursed for protecting by the countries that we're helping. For instance, you look at the 5 countries. You have Saudi Arabia, you have UAE, you have Qatar, as I always say, you have Qatar, Bahrain, and by the way, you have others. You have Kuwait, and you have others, and they will do very well. But we think it's appropriate that we don't need them. You know, we have more oil than any other country in the world. When you add.
And Stephanie, notable here is that this is what Iran has been saying they want to do, that they've wanted to charge service fees after this 60-day window that was laid out in that memo of understanding that the U.S. and Iran signed with great fanfare last month. And the administration has pushed back very strongly. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said just a couple weeks ago, quote, no country is allowed to charge tolls or fees on an international waterway. He said that that was a violation of existing law. And as you heard there from the president, he didn't exactly explain how the United States was going to get that money from countries and whether countries would agree to pay that to the United States. Stephanie?
Yeah, a little bit of a role reversal. The U.S. rejecting Iran's plan to charge tolls, and now we're seeing the U.S. trying to do the same. Okay, Karen, what is the latest on these strikes in the Gulf?
Yeah, we saw the United States launch another round yesterday, the 5th in just a week, and the president indicated there could be another wave of strikes aimed at Iran today. Iran struck back, hitting those 2 tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, and also there was incoming with warning sirens in Bahrain and Jordan last night saying that they were intercepting Iranian missiles. But again, important to underline, the president yesterday said this was going to happen and also indicated, Stephanie, this would continue again today. But that was the 5th round in just a week.
Okay, we will continue to watch it. Karen, thank you very much. And President Trump is set to meet with Iraq's new prime minister at the White House any minute. We, of course, will bring you that meeting live from the Oval Office as soon as it happens. And gas prices are rising again amid the new strikes in Iran. Experts say the national average could even hit $4 per gallon as early as next week. Let's bring in head of petroleum analysis at Gas Buddy, Patrick DeHaan. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us. This feels like deja vu. This is just this back and forth. The ceasefire is no longer. The U.S. and Iran are once again trading strikes, and oil prices are spiking. What can drivers here in the U.S. expect in the next few weeks?
Yeah, Stephanie, I'm expecting gas prices after 8 weeks of declining. We may see a multi-week upward trajectory after oil's big jump yesterday after new escalations in the strait between the U.S. and Iran. it likely will start to cost Americans more to fill up. In fact, some states already today seeing pretty hefty increases. I do think that more states are going to get on that bus here later today. Motorists may go to work this morning with a lower price. They may see prices that are 15 to 40 cents a gallon higher on their way home from work today or even tomorrow. I do fully expect that the national average could get close to that $4 a gallon mark in the next week or 10 days, while diesel prices are likely to quickly hit that $5 a gallon mark just again. Now, it was a nice decline, rather, seeing prices fall back below the $4 a gallon mark, but we are almost guaranteed to head right above that. Now, this is very much contingent on if the situation remains in escalation mode. If there's any de-escalations very quickly, that could abruptly slam the brakes on potential increases. The Strait of Hormuz is not the only factor boosting gasoline prices. The other issue flying below the radar, that is Ukrainian attacks on Russian oil refineries that have halted the export of many products out of Russia. That is also leading to higher gas prices across the U.S. and really the globe.
And Patrick, what are your thoughts on President Trump's plan to charge 20% on cargo in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, that certainly would be very fraught. It would essentially boost the price of oil by 15%. So that detail could be a huge sting to global supply. Not only oil could be taxed at that 15% rate if it's carried out, it could also impact refined fuels that right now are in very short supply. That is why we've seen somewhat of a disconnect between the price of oil, which is still relatively low, and gas prices, which are relatively high.
And Patrick, as you know, Ukraine is launching fresh attacks on Russian refineries. How much pressure does that add to the situation?
That adds quite a bit of pressure at a time that U.S. refineries are operating at near capacity, nearly 97% of capacity. Russian refineries being attacked means that there's less ability for the world to turn oil into gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. 1 out of 9 barrels of diesel in the world produced comes from Russia. And with right now the export ban on diesel from Russia, it is having a much more profound impact on the price of diesel and jet fuel, which just weeks ago was plummeting. Now we're seeing those prices go right back up on the heels of a nice inflation report that showed inflation cooling today from a month ago. Well, that inflation could start to heat right back up.
All right, Patrick, thank you very much for your time and for your insights. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Supreme Court Justices Amy Coney Barrett and Elena Kagan are testifying to a House Appropriations Committee for the court's 2027 budget request. The court is requesting a nearly $15 million increase in security protections as officials report a surge in threats against federal judges.
The Capitol Police Chief recently testified that threats against Congress are up 50% this year. The Supreme Court police expect a smaller but still very substantial 38% annual increase in threats this year, which follows a 25% increase last year. For some of us, those threats have come very close, and all of us live with the knowledge that they may again materialize. But as the Chief Justice has said, all members of the court continue to do their jobs as they believe legally right, adjudicating cases without fear or favor.
Let's bring in ABC's senior Washington reporter, Devin Dwyer, for more on this. You've been watching this all morning. Devin, how significant is this budget increase request?
It's very significant, Steph. 10% increase for the Supreme Court. It does sound like from this hearing that lawmakers, Republicans and Democrats are expected to grant that. The Supreme Court justices are looking to beef up the police force by adding 25 new members. The Supreme Court has its own protection by those officers. They're also looking to add up to 6 individual agents per justice. What a huge change over the past 30 years when justices would show up in their personal cars, some even riding a bike to work. They're now beefing up their own security, and they're also looking, Steph, to improve the cyber security defenses at the Supreme Court by hiring 12 agents to do that, protect those decisions and their deliberations. Obviously, as you heard there from Justice Kagan speaking on behalf of the court, there has been a huge spike in threats, up 38%. The Marshal Service reported last year 564 threats against judges in this country, Steph. So there's real concern that sea change in violence that we've seen across government in so many communities is now creating some new risks at the nation's highest court.
Absolutely. All right, Devin, thank you very much.
You bet.
Officials are calling for an investigation after ICE agents killed a man in Maine. And we do want to warn you, this video could be disturbing. Maine Senator Angus King says 26-year-old Joan Sebastian Guerrero was killed after federal agents tried to stop the car he was driving. Guerrero was not the intended target of the operation. It comes just days after an ICE officer killed an undocumented immigrant in Houston. Now the community is demanding accountability. ABC's Victor Okendo is in Biddeford, Maine with the latest.
Hey, Stephanie, this all happened right behind us. There is a growing memorial there on the corner. On that street, people have been leaving flowers, paying their respects. People in this community are demanding answers and accountability. This morning, growing outrage after an ICE agent shot and killed someone who was not the target they were pursuing for the second time in less than a week, this time in Maine. A security camera at a nearby home capturing the sound of 5 gunshots. The man's white car, then seen here after the shooting, slowly moving in a circle. An agent trying to stop the vehicle, authorities eventually stopping it with their own car. First responders seen surrounding a man who lay motionless in the street. Daniel Boucher says he saw agents haul the driver out.
He put him on the ground, and I heard the young man say, "I tried to stop." Clearly heard him say that. I tried to stop, or I tried to pull over.
Boucher says one ICE agent claimed the man tried to run him over.
I could no longer see any movement, which meant that he had expired. He was bloody, his face was bloody, it was awful. It was awful. I mean, really, really bad.
The car's windshield seen riddled with bullet holes.
I don't know what he did, but he didn't deserve to be executed in the street.
ABC affiliate WMTW identifying the victim of the shooting as Joan Sebastian Guerrero from Colombia. Immigration advocates say he had a social security number and was authorized to work in the U.S. and was on his way to work. Maine Senator Angus King saying the 26-year-old was not the intended target.
The question is, what did he do with his vehicle? Were officers threatened? Were the threats rising to the level that justified deadly force?
King says he was told none of the agents involved were wearing body cameras. DHS says they are rolling them out to ICE agents across the country. A spokesperson for ICE telling ABC News, ICE law enforcement attempted to conduct a vehicle stop. The vehicle attempted to flee the scene, and fearing for public safety, an officer discharged his weapon. Monday's shooting coming 6 days after Lorenzo Salgado Araujo was shot and killed by ICE agents in Houston. Authorities there also alleging the victim threatened agents with his vehicle, though they did not provide evidence. At least 9 people have been killed during immigration enforcement operations under the second Trump administration. At least 5 of them fatally shot, including U.S. citizens Alex Preddy and Renee Good earlier this year in Minneapolis. These recent shootings come as ICE is stepping up enforcement. They're rolling 2,000 arrests per day. Federal authorities, including the FBI, are leading the investigation here. Stephanie?
Victor Okendo reporting there from Maine. Thank you, Victor. Shifting to weather, sweltering heat is settling in from coast to coast. Daily high temperatures could break records in cities across the country, and relief isn't expected until next week. Meanwhile, smoke from more than 800 wildfires in Canada is expected to shift into America tonight. ABC News meteorologist Samara Theodore is here now with more. Samara, what can people expect?
They can expect to be hot and maybe to be indoors because air quality is definitely going to go down as we see that smoke make its way to the low 48. So let's dive right in. We have a lot to talk about. If you live in Rapid City, you are currently under a heat advisory. Fargo, you have an extreme heat warning. The Midwest, the Northern Plains, dealing with some really extreme heat as we head through your Tuesday. And it's not just there. On the East Coast, we've got it too. Temperatures in the upper 90s from DC up to Maine. But you factor in the humidity, it feels even hotter. And that heat only helping to energize these storms. So we will see robust thunderstorms moving from upstate New York to Caribou, Maine, destructive winds, large hail, even the chance for strong tornadoes. And then there's the other story about the wildfire, smoke in particular. As Stephanie mentioned, we have over 800 wildfires burning in Canada right now. So that smoke is making its way. You can see the plumes making their way down, or anticipated to make their way down through today and into tonight, and then tomorrow, Wednesday, really reaching a peak. Extreme wildfire smoke coverage for much of the state of Michigan. I said it earlier. Remember back in 2023 when it looked like we were on the planet Mars here in New York and in many places in the East Coast? It's not looking like it's going to be that bad, but it's enough that I would certainly limit my time outdoors, make sure the kids aren't playing outside too much because that could really irritate them. And then finally, Texas, hello, how you guys doing? Because you have flash flooding there. Flash flood warning in effect for those in that deep color red from Sheffield to Uvalde, Bandera. It started to relax a bit just south of El Dorado, but we have rounds of rain that are going to be moving through this area. So much so, by the time it's all said and done, we could see up to a foot or more of rain. Let's look at your forecast, Stephanie.
A lot to track. Thanks so much, Samara. Coming up here on ABC News Live, first, a story breaks right behind a local news reporter. The dangerous situation in water as boats started flipping in that water there. Just an intense.
Lock in with deals on all your game day snacks and groceries. Store game day deals for a limited time on Uber Eats.